Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first episode of TomoClub Town Hall. And I'm very excited to discuss about what are the thoughts that have gone behind creating our ebook. And hopefully, we'll have some insights on the origin story, the way we approached superintendents, what it took to convince them, and finally, the editing process. So, without much further ado, I'll bring on the panelists, my esteemed colleagues from Tomo Club. Um, Hey everyone, welcome to our first Town Hall episode. So glad we could make it.
Thank
Hello,
you so much
hello.
for hosting this. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. So, as I was just giving out the intro, I was not part of the ebook from the beginning. So, this story is going to be totally new to me. So, I'm going to completely immerse myself in the experience whatsoever. So I'm very curious to understand what's the origin story, what went through, to decide which superintendents we'll be bringing in, and perhaps some deep dives into the entire process and what we are going to do for the ebook launch event. Sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, Avinash, I'll
Yeah,
start with
I
you first. Yeah,
yeah. Let's
go
go.
ahead.
So I think it's been a while we are working on this ebook. I was first brought to the table by Rochelle. Um, one thing we understand working in education that more than program, more than about your effectiveness of your product, it's more about relationship building. It's more about people know who is the person behind the screen. Technology, who's building products, and Rohit started, doing podcasts with so many school leaders, and but then we realized that podcast doesn't bring that tangible value, something that lasts forever. And book as a format, I would say, has survived um, decades of technology change, and book is still such a relevant piece of, I would say, artifact that we thought, let's do this. And I think we've been very blessed with so many school leaders agreeing to be a part of this overall phenomena. And now it is so close that, yeah, it's giving me chills. Tell me more about Rochit. Like, how did that idea initially came into your mind?
Okay, so basically, after doing a podcast, as you mentioned earlier, like I got to know school leaders, read a lot. Whenever they are on the desk, there are some documents to read, there are some documents to complete. They need to, make a detailed information out of it to decide the next step. So after that, I thought, why don't we reach out to school leaders and connect with them and create an ebook that can, give the aspiring school leaders an idea how to solve the real problems that is they are dealing on the daily basis, and that's the whole idea behind it. So when we started, the first question we asked ourselves was, how do we identify the right people for this ebook? So for me, not just well-known names, but the right fit matters a lot. So I began the research, and we spent a good amount of time trying to identify the people who are, actually the best fit for what we are trying to build. And very early on, we defined what best fit means for us. So I discussed with Avinash, Chelsea, and Manik, and we came to that conclusion that for us, it was not about titles or visibility. It was more about relevance and depth. So we were looking for leaders, who are closely connected to the day-to-day realities of running a school, people who are dealing with real challenges, making decisions on a real time, and actively working on solutions. So because of that, our research, went deeper, and we explored different schools, different reasons, and different contexts. So we tried to understand who is doing meaningful work on the ground and who is thinking in a practical way, and who has a real tested experience to share, so that other school leaders can, learn from their experiences. So along with the research, we also spend a lot of time in conversations. So I was in a continuous touch with Avinash, Chelsea, and Manik, sharing my experience, So we reached out to many leaders, and in those early interactions, our goal was not just to invite them; it was to understand their perspective, how they think, what challenges they are facing, and how they approach those challenges. So, and honestly, this part came with its own set of challenges. Let's say, like, there was a lot of follow-ups involved. Many conversations did not happen in one go, and so we feel anxiety as well, like we'll be able to complete this ebook or not, because there was a back and forth to find the right time, scheduling issues, and moments where we had to reconnect again. So in some cases conversations paused and we had to restart them. So there were small hurdles throughout the process, and but that also help us be more certain about the people we are bringing in, because through this process we did not just identify the leaders, we understood their depth of thinking, their commitment, and the kind of work they are actually doing in their schools. So over time, through consistent follow-ups and multiple conversations and careful selection, I would say we brought these school leaders, and this is where it becomes important. Like each one of these leader brings something very real that we were looking for, not theory, not general ideas, but actual experiences, practical thinking, and solutions. The main matter is solution that come from working in real school environments. So when someone reads this, they are not just reading the content of the ebook; they are getting access to the thinking of people actually who are deeply involved in the work, and who have already spent year understanding what works and what does not. So this is what makes this group a strong. Yeah, so that's the whole journey, how this idea came to my mind, and how I reached out to school leaders. So yeah.
Can I butt in here?
If
I
Roshita
think,
left something to speak,
yeah, yeah.
No,
That
no,
was
no.
pretty
Yes, you
much
can
all.
go ahead, Chelsea.
I think Rochit has probably covered everything that we were ever achieving, like ever thinking of achieving through this. I think we
yeah.
don't have to speak anything else for the next 10 minutes, or I
Okay,
don't
bye
tell you
guys.
when it comes to that. But definitely, it was a lot from you, Rochit and Avinash Mane. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was super helpful to just write this book. I think if someone had given us a book like this 3 years back when we were starting Tomo Club, it would have been super helpful just to
Yeah.
understand what the landscape of the room looks like. Coming and understanding how US school culture works, what's happening, where even each state are different, and how a big district
Yeah.
responds versus a small district response, what a charter school would say about something versus what someone working in Chicago public school district would talk about. It's just very different, and that's the fun part about reading this book.
Right. I think just wanted to add one piece. When Rochit was talking, and we were discussing about this today, about how we think and metacognition, all of those things, like the bigger, deeper questions that we have during lunchtime. But I think beyond that, this was also like one of those ideas that got thrown around a lot, right? Like we were talking about it so often, but we were always like, should we not, should we, right? And I think I loved how I think Rochit also stood by it, by this
Yeah.
idea, and like fought us through, like in spite of all the pushback. But I think one thing that I've absolutely loved about this book is the authenticity, right? How authentic it is, in from not just our perspective, but also like the perspectives of the people on ground. And I think there's this line in our book, uh, it's from from the genesis itself, which says, we started with a simple stubborn conviction, and us that our students deserve to be future ready, right? And I think this terminology future ready is getting thrown around so much, sadly. I mean, I don't mean to be like, I don't mean to say it that way, but I think it's getting thrown around in a way where our name itself has been Tomo Club right from the day we started, right? We were already thinking about future ready children from the day that it started, and what we needed were the best people to actually talk about what they've been doing when they were thinking about future ready children. And so, yeah, I think, um, this is not just a great resource, but also a testament of all the work that people have put in for not just children, but for their communities per se. So it's not just about them, right? Like we might think, okay, leaders and they're doing things to from their own perspectives and all of that. But I think right now it's worth a read. That's all that I'll say. It's worth that read.
Makes total sense, Chelsea. So, sorry, Avinash, I'll just take this question quickly from YouTube. So, All Things Classroom has asked, what motivated you to think of this idea? What were your first thoughts?
Okay, so my first thought when I thought about this idea was, let's build something which is everlasting, which can actually cement our strong belief in the advocacy for education. And yeah, I think it just felt very to do, felt like a big mission. So my first thoughts were all about, it's a very high effort, low ROI thing to do at an early stage startup, but I think it is finally feeling to be worth it. And yeah, those are the first feelings.
Manik, what about you? How did you approach this as a co-founder? Because Avinash brought a very great point. Because at such an early stage, this was something which either could yield the results that we wanted, or probably backfire at us, being very recent to the tech space. So how did you go about this? What were your initial thoughts when Avinash proposed this idea? Because I know it sounds a little bit crazy sitting from the outside, and also having a look into how the ebook has adapted over, say, we have spent almost 6 months doing this. So I'd like to know how it felt for you when you heard about this idea for the very first time.
I think for me it was a lot more easy to understand, why we are doing this, specifically with the relationships that we already had with a lot of superintendents. I think Al was one of the first people we spoke with, and I was in that call. I understood what his motivations are and why would he want to be part of it. So it just made sense to do what was right, and it just felt that this is what the world needed us to do. So that's why we did it. I sorry.
Sorry,
Can't hear
Shreya,
you,
can't hear
Shrey.
you.
I really love the idea of simplicity, right? Because we have never made anything so complicated. But at the same time, this really does have immense value for anybody that wants to read, not specifically for the school leaders, but the leadership people that are there across different domains. So that's really something which I felt truly motivated just by reading the snippets. I'm very excited for when the book launches. I want to really give this a one set read, and I'm sure many will definitely agree with us that this will definitely be something that adds value to whatever they are doing, and perhaps motivate them to try something that adds benefit to the entire community as a whole. So, yeah, back to you, Avinash.
No, I agree, and I think I have to acknowledge a big, huge role played by the authors. Um, these 15 superintendents and former superintendents is no small deal. These
Yeah.
are coming across 12 different states. The combined experience of these 15 people is 400 year plus. Like, it's insane. And if you look at the districts that they have served, and the combined population, the number of children they have, impacted is more than a million. So it's a huge experience, and I have myself read every chapter during the editing process, and some of the chapters have really motivated me personally when I look at education. So that it takes a lot of perseverance,
Yeah.
while building any curriculum, while thinking about kids. um, it is a hard journey, and But when you go through these chapters, you feel the new energy in you, and it reminds you again of your mission and your vision, why you're working in this industry. And I think I've been to a lot of conferences. I have seen that the life of a superintendent or any school leader can be very lonely because they are being pulled in all different directions, whether it's board, whether it's community, parents, and why not? They expect a lot when you are at that stature. So to live up to that expectation is no easy job. So that makes me more empathetic uh, when I approach them as a vendor, because I'm not the only one. Hundreds and 500 people are kind of want their attention at the same time. So anybody who's also working in education, or anybody who is thinking of working in education, this book can actually break a lot of, I would say, myths, a lot of your biases, and help you feel connected to these people genuinely.
So makes total sense. And we have got one more question from my pastel art. Superintendents are a complex bunch to impress. Me and Rochit know this fact too well, especially for the last 8 weeks. We have been juggling a whole different lot of schedules. Some are on spring break, some are coming out of spring break. Many are attending different conferences. So bringing 15 people together takes immense strength, no doubt. So what did you do to convince them? Kudos to the team. So
I think
Rochit.
I'll go and then Rochit can go. I think it's the mission. I think everyone came very strongly behind the mission. We formed it really well, and everyone wanted a platform for their story to be told. I think that's the other thing. Those are the two things. The mission was told very well, and they needed a platform where it can be heard in a non-biased, non-judgmental manner, where they could speak whatever was on their mind. Rochit, why not?
Yeah, so basically, it's more about honesty. Whatever I felt, I just put it on the table and share with the school leaders, like what's the mission of this ebook, what's the vision of this ebook, why are we working on this ebook. So it's more about honesty. They connected with us and they felt like, oh, we are doing a genuine work, and they saw our efforts. So let me share a quick story with you that I always share with the school leaders. Uh, um, what motivated me to think about this idea. It really came from conversation, the honest conversation I had with school leaders. So over time, as I kept speaking with more and more school leaders, I started noticing a pattern, like different school, different reasons, and different contexts, but many of challenges were similar for each leader. So leaders were dealing with like student engagement, life skills, AI, teacher alignment, teacher burnout, and a lot of day-to-day decision making. And while they were all trying to different approaches, there was very little space left where these real experiences were being shared openly. So that stood out to me at that point. So at the same time, in many of these conversations, leaders were also curious to learn from others. Like they wanted to know what's actually working in other schools, not in theory, but actual in real. So I always shared with the school leader, hey, we are working with X school, and we have delivered this result. So they always curious, hey, what they are actually doing differently. I want to know. Could you please tell us more about it? So that is where the idea started forming. So we felt it if we can bring together a group of leaders who are actually doing this work and create a space where their real experiences and thinking can come together, so it would be a valuable not just for them but for many others in education as well. So I always share this idea with the school leaders and they always feel connected with us.
Yeah, connectedness is a very key aspect, and that is something I take immense pride working for TomoClub as well, because we are not somebody who puts sales at the top. We have always discussed it comes at the downstream of pedagogy. So we are a value first company, and then only if there is a certain pain point that we identify, that is when we are going to make a pitch, and that too in a very subtle way. So I really resonate with that idea. So we have one more question from the innovative projects. So what should we expect from this book?
Chelsea, why don't you take it?
What a lovely question, actually, because I think one thing that I can definitely tell you is you're going to get some like real ground reality of what really happens in the boardroom and beyond it. We might think that these are like the decisions that superintendents make, or even these leaders make, might come from a lot of conversations and a lot of diplomacy, but it's way beyond that. And I think, in spite of the number of conversations, podcasts that we have done, we we were really a little unaware of the gravity of uh, the things that all of them have gone through to what they have achieved, right? And I think achieving something is one thing, but the entire process is so well described in all of the chapters. I think one thing to definitely look forward to is how you would want to apply certain learnings from these superintendents back to what you're doing. And I believe that for any leader, for that matter, whether you're an edtech founder, or whether you're a superintendent, or at least you're someone growing into a role of a superintendent, one thing that you're definitely going to take back are the challenges that these former superintendents and current superintendents have faced, and how and what they've done to, say, either get out of it or mold into a solution, right? I think that is going to be your biggest takeaway. And look forward to anecdotes that you don't expect at all, right? Um, because I'll say that for sure. I think while editing, one thing that I absolutely loved was the kind of perseverance that was visible across chapters. You'd be surprised how a lot of superintendents have, uh, I wouldn't say similar, but there is some sort of connection in terms of how they think, right? But
Yeah.
then the anecdotes, I would say, really expect the unexpected there.
No, yeah.
Absolutely.
And adding to Chelsea's point, so to be a little bit more descriptive, there are like total 15 chapters, which are divided across 5 themes. And the first theme is around ambassador, which is more about how do you navigate the board politics, how do you manage community relationships, or how do you win public trust. The second section is about cultivator, which is more around human resource. How do you develop team, and how do you uh, make sure that you are able to retain them, which is a huge problem right now. The third component is the builder. So, how do you turn around struggling schools, or how do you make sure students actually feel safe in the environment? Then the fourth section is about the pathfinder, more about how do you connect classrooms to the real world. I think, especially in the age of AI, talking about career readiness and how do you design a system around it is very crucial. And the fifth theme, which is my favorite, is the innovator, where how do you imagine curricula or classroom instruction or classroom management uh, with the changing times. So the innovator is the fifth theme. So it covering a lot of bases around what goes in a school system on a daily basis.
Absolutely, I definitely agree. There is a lot of hidden gems, something that has never been told on any platform, at least to my knowledge. So please do register for the live event. And we have Sean asking us when is it launching. So we go live on May 1. So we have a live event planned to launch this ebook at 11 a.m. Eastern summertime. So please do look out for our posts, and you will be able to register for the event. Uh, Next, we have a question from Wisdom Den. What was the content design process? Is this specifically for leadership? I want to know from a curriculum point of view. Any tip helps. Chelsea?
Well,
Seems like I'm taking this. I think, pardon me, one thing that we went into this process with was not changing the way they wanted to tell their story. When we talk about the content design, we definitely gave them some sort of direction that made it more anecdotal. I can say that. But we did not want to change their narrative, right? And it's not specifically for leadership, but definitely for those growing into leadership. And you can see, uh, if you look at our title itself, or at least the name of the book, it's Leaders of Tomorrow, right? These are leaders who are working towards, say, children of the future, and we want the upcoming leaders to also face a similar, say, sort of trajectory, right? And when you talk about, say, from a curriculum point of view, we're always looking at what's next, right? Like, we're always looking at what do we do to make things better, or what do we want for our children when we think about doing better. And one common theme that has arrived over and over is the aspect of community within, uh, say, all the chapters, right? And when you talk about tips, I think I would love to maybe get a clarification of also what sort of tips you may need. Would definitely be happy to give you that. But our content design process has been that, where we knew where we wanted to go, right? We have been outcome driven. We do our backward planning in the same way we would do any of our curriculum design and so yeah.
Yeah. No, I just one more point. So one of the simple direction to a school leader was explain the problem, that why you feel so much about it. So let's say if you pick up a topic around classroom management or school safety or social emotional learning or AI, then share your experience, why it matters to you so much. What did you do? What went wrong? What went right? And then how did you conclude it? What are the next steps? So we want that it should be like a playbook, and the content is designed in that particular fashion. And it's not only for leadership, because anybody who's working in the entire system, unless you understand the psychology behind decision making of everyone, you can't navigate the system very well. So even if you are just entering as an educator in the early years, if you are able to understand the needs and the thought process of the leadership team, it will immensely improve your uh, you know working relationship. So, from the curriculum point of view, there are a couple of chapters which actually can help a lot, especially on the future readiness aspect.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think there are certain tips that are valid for everybody, irrespective of whether they are a leader, they are just starting out, they are experienced. Because I have just gotten a very quick glance, and I must say the values offered are probably applicable to any domain that you work in. So, Wisdom, then please stay tuned and join us on May 1st. We are having a good LinkedIn Live event where you will definitely get to hear from the authors themselves. So, that would be a great place to get more specific tips for you to work. The next question is from, oh my God, Bharti. So thank you so much for joining in. She was one of my earlier coaches who inspired me to get into edtech. So, and you're kind of putting me on the spot. You've been following me since I started at Synthesis. Uh, Definitely agree. And how do I see TomoClub stand out? Well, this is something that the team knows already. So one is we keep sales at the downstream of the pedagogy. So that is something that I've always loved about Tomo Club. And the second thing, as all the other panelists already told, we are not here to just put a random stuff into the lives of teachers and students. There has been careful thought. Chelsea has been a big part of curriculum. Avinash and Manik have their entrepreneurial experience. Rohit brings his own marketing experience. So there is a combined strategy that has gone into the development of the programs, and we are very much built around the school's schedule. We do have different teachers who have shared their valuable feedback, and we are building it keeping in mind the teachers, the students, as well as the leadership. So this is a form of a community, which is what stands out for me, and the way the games are just developed. So you know how it has gone for Synthesis over the years. So that is something which our team, specifically Chelsea and our game developer Rohit, has worked carefully to ensure there are no lags, there are no bugs that make the experience drop for the students specifically. And definitely the age group, we target ages from 8 and above for our Future Ready Skills program. So that is something which definitely helps TomoClub stand out. And thank you once again for joining. We're really glad you could make it. Next question: what's the thought behind the name of the book? The leaders are experienced already, and why tomorrow? Avinash, you could.
Okay. I think the most important part of being a leader is you have to be a lifelong learner, and you can never say that. I think anybody who will define or who will lead a future is the one who will keep on learning and keep on sharing. So that was the idea, and it's not only for those leadership who's contributing.
Yeah.
The most important part of any leader is to build the next layer of leaders in their, in their army or in their band. So it's actually appealing to the people out there who wants to be the leaders of tomorrow. So those are the two aspects in my mind. If anybody else have their own version, happy
Yeah.
to hear.
Absolutely. I think I would build on to what you're saying, Avinash. I think when we say leaders of tomorrow, where I think we were battling between the title also, if you recall. We were talking about how whether it should be leaders of tomorrow or whether it should be leaders for tomorrow, right? And we kept circling back to uh, coming to talk about how we the leaders that we currently have, or at least the ones who are our authors, are the leaders of tomorrow. And the reason why we keep saying that is because we know that, and you're right, they're experienced already. And that's why they're the leaders of tomorrow. They're the ones building our future even further, right? They're the ones bringing in that experience for the leaders to follow as well. And I think that is why this inspired us also to create this book. I think maybe reiterating what Rochit had already mentioned earlier, but that's exactly why. And well, I'll also say Tomo Club stands for Tomorrow Club, right? So we're always striving for tomorrow. We're always looking at, and if you think that we've just reached out to leaders and and someone had earlier asked this question, how did we get these 15 leaders together? If you think that we just reached out to anybody at all, we know everyone's doing their work, and these 15 leaders were the ones who convinced us with their stories too, right? When we talk about their stories have come from a space of so much of experience, right? And so much, and a lot of grit as well, right? These, some of them have literally taken, say, 5 to 7 years to get one action in place, right?
Yeah.
And you might think that, oh my gosh, that's too much time. I just do this. We got AI, we can do this. It's not that simple. The process is so long, right? The process is includes board members. It includes different people on your board, right? And this is something that you'll find in the ambassador chapters as well. But it's those leaders who have not just done that, but who have actually thought about making or at least creating spaces that are sustainable. It's not that you make an action and it's done for. It's about how do you create a sustainable environment for that particular district as well. So it's not that, okay, during my leadership this is what I've done, this is how it's supposed to be, and that's it. It's about when the next superintendent comes, they're going to be in a space where they can grow further and not worry about that particular piece anymore. So yeah.
Absolutely love these answers and the questions as well. So most of our thought process is being exposed by these questions, and I'm really loving it. I don't know, like if we ever planned it in such a way, but I'm really happy the questions are coming in. So, how is this book different from any other leadership book?
I think I'll take this. You could say a lot of leadership books have an overlap. This will have an overlap. I'm not going to say it's not going to have an overlap. But if you're a leader specifically working in a school industry, be it a principal, teacher, administrator, superintendent, or looking to be one, it's going to give you a complete overlay of it. It's specifically meant for people in education, and that too in K-12 school space. And you will get a overlay of the whole US education system. You will understand their challenges, what their problem looks like, from grants and funding to implementation of new programs, and what they think about it, how they go about it, and what their top priorities are. And some of the stories I think just mentioned, like it's just heartwarming to see how they think for their successor. So these, it's not like any other leadership book. It's specific to education, specific to K-12, uh, and it's a great read. So if you want to read it as a leadership book, please do. But I think it's going to be more useful if you're from the K-12 industry.
Absolutely. So, just to give an extension of this, so the way I see this book making a difference is it considers the experience before the pandemic hit, during the pandemic, as well as the post pandemic era where AI is making inroads in such a speed where some schools cannot just keep up. And as Chelsea rightly mentioned, this is also in a form of, handing over the reins if at all the superintendent changes, and to ensure that the transition is smooth and the school is not set back years because the new superintendent is going to come in and understand what works, what doesn't. So they have a playbook of sorts that they can just reference back and see what exactly has happened and what exactly is the work that they need to do. So, in a way, we are just trying to reduce the burden and the time commitments that superintendent would have to invest when they change districts. So makes sense. Learning never stops. The five domains you mentioned, can you share how it integrates to learning, leadership, and perhaps ethic? I think Avinash, Manik, and Chelsea answered this in the previous question itself. So this is not specific to one domain in particular, but we have ensured it makes most sense to leadership in education, because that is something which we pride upon and which is something close to our heart. But if at all you want to incorporate these strategies for your edtech, I just plan to tell you one thing, which is uh, involving the community of teachers, community of students, parents as a whole, and then making the product around them, keeping them and their benefits in mind, and not just a solo product that perhaps looks good to an investor. So that is something which is a wider learning. For a specific learning, I think you better wait for the ebook to come out. It definitely has a lot of perspectives that definitely makes the reading experience much more useful. So thanks for the
Yeah.
lovely shares. Appreciated, Bhati. So what's the origin story behind TomoClub? Tomo in Japanese means wisdom or companion.
You know what? I think I know Manik's going to be excited about this question because this philosophy, I'm absolutely loving, Bharti. I wish this was live for sure. But I think, Manik, I'll let you take this.
Hmm.
This is your game, yeah.
Yes, there's a book called Toto Chan, guys. If you guys haven't read it, there's a book called Toto Chan. It's one of the most popular and famous book from Japan. And the person who wrote it, she went to a school which was named Tomoe in Japanese, which means wisdom, companion, friendship. And Tomo Club, when we started off, it meant tomorrow, but it also was reference to the fact that it reminded me so much of a school that I wanted to build, which was written in Toto Chan. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that answers this question. Yes, Tomo or Tomoe is a short form, or rather, it means wisdom in Japanese. And in a way, Manik has had a good wordplay to integrate this with tomorrow and make it Tomo. So probably you could introspect it in any manner as it suits your situation. But again, general thought behind this is to ensure we stay as a companion to the schools, because Manik also bought this well written statement where he said the definition of a good student has not changed, but definition of a good adult has perhaps transformed, changed, is changing each and every day. And that is the core philosophy that we are trying to bring through our programs, through this ebook, to ensure that experience that they so very deserve, and keeping that in mind to then transfer the learning experience to the students and our young learners. So yes, that is the entire origin story of TomoClub. And what are your recommendations to get the maximum out of this book? Are different sections independent of each other?
You want to take this, Avinash?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, the 15 chapters are independent of each other. So, my recommendation is that you pick up a chapter, you read it, and then reflect on it. It has, you can go back to the chapters again, back and forth. So it's not a single sitting to go through the entire book. Of course, if you want to, you can, but you'll have more impact when you have pick topics according to your needs. The idea was that if you are working in education and you are stuck sometime, at a
Right.
particular situation, actually refer to this book, go to the index, and find the most relatable word in the index, and just go and read that chapter. So that's the whole idea of a playbook. Um, and Chelsea, if you have any other points.
I think you summed it up correctly, Avinash. I think exactly that. See what is most relevant to you as well. I would say read all the chapters, right? Go into the process the way we edited it also. The reason why I'm saying that is because it follows a sort of trajectory of how these stories have been built as well, right? So follow that trajectory if you'd like. But if there is any particular, say, even title that is exciting to you, or if that's a leader that you know personally, go ahead and read it because you there are again. I'm going to say the same thing again. Expect the unexpected, but think of it from the point of view of how these leaders have been evolving and they've delivered what they had what to deliver right at the beginning.
Absolutely. So, all things plus, and what Avinash and Chelsea have done really well is they've also included a Genesis document as a preface and forward. So, please do go through that in detail because that has a lot of different contexts that will enable you to choose the right sections to go through first. And each of our authors are definitely available on LinkedIn, and we also have a carefully planned book tour that we will be conducting post the launch event, where you could perhaps ask your doubts, clarifications directly to the authors. So it's going to be spread evenly in the month of May. So I hope you definitely get to register for that as well and join us in ensuring we are able to get the maximum out of the ebook. Um, so this was a lovely event. Thank you so much, Innovative Projects. How do we register for the live? I think I see my team has put in the link, or you could perhaps quickly use this QR code. It will take you straight away to the launch event. Register for the LinkedIn Live. It is scheduled for May 1 at 11 a.m. Eastern. So that would be around 8:30, if I'm not wrong, Indian Standard Time. So we look forward to having you all on the live event. The more the merrier. We also get to learn from you all, and perhaps if you have any specific questions, please do make a note of it, and we will definitely strive our best to ensure you're given the answers directly from the authors. If not, please do come and attend the book tour because definitely you'll get a couple of chances to really ask all of your questions. So, on that note, I don't see any further questions. Um,
Yes, I want to, each of you to answer this because we are very close to our launching date. So I just wanted to ask you to everyone to answer this. Like, what makes you personally excited about this launch?
do you
You
want me to
can,
go first?
you can.
You can
Because
share.
as I really said, no, I am having a unique perspective. I am an outsider as well as an insider at the same time, and with whatever teaser materials that you guys have shared, it just makes it really something that I look forward to. And also coming in from my executive leadership coaching background, it just makes so much sense to understand what really happens from their seat, what is happening from my seat, and at the same time what is happening from the team's efforts as well, because this is not an easy job convincing 15 superintendents to coordinate, to bring them on a single unified platform. And I am definitely sure I have seen Avinash take so much pains, in following up. Chelsea has probably worked overnights without sleep to get this book edited in time. Manik has his own unique perspectives that has somehow come in, which just makes this book more valuable. And Rohit, me and you, we belong to the same team, and we have been discussing this for the last 8 weeks. So seeing this come to fruition is something that I'm very excited about.
All right, I think I can go. Um, Again, I think just looking at the kind of impact that this book will make. Uh, when I say this over and over, I feel like I'm overselling it, but I know that I'm not, because of the number of times that we've probably read this, and the number of times that you read it, it's always something new, especially certain chapters that really hit home. um, and it makes you reflect a lot, right? And all of these chapters make you reflect in a way that can be directly applicable to your life as well, right? If you want to take a lesson of grit from, say, one of the authors, take it back. If you want to take something about ownership, take that back, right? So it's a lot, but again, I'll say that it's it's going to be a fun launch, and you'll get to, and especially on the day, on the 1st of May, you'll get to ask the actual authors of this book the right questions, right? So yeah, I'll leave it to that.
I'll say one line. I think the for me the excitement about this is just to get the stories out. It's just absolutely fun to read, if nothing else, just to learn and absorb of how every. I think Chelsea used the word resilience before this, like resilience of each person and how they brought it up. It's just fun. It has been extremely fun, and I'm
Yeah.
super excited and waiting. Can't eagerly wait for the official launch. I've already read the book, so I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
Avinash?
Yeah, for me, I'm most excited to hear people reviews. I want to know real stories of how this book actually helped someone in their journey. I think that would be a real success when I would even hear from one person saying that this book helped them in some way. I think it will be all worth it.
Absolutely. So any closing thoughts? I don't see any questions. Are there any questions from LinkedIn that we have to take?
No, I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. It was a fun 45 minute, 50 minutes, in fact. Uh,
Yeah.
very impromptu, but I was not really expecting these many questions. So whoever attended live, Bharti, Innovative Projects, All Things Classroom, and everyone else, thank you so much for joining and making this event a little interesting. And we were able to, I hope we were able to give you all the insights to motivate you to register for the event. So once again, there is this QR code that you can scan, takes you directly to the registration link, and we all are eagerly awaiting your presence on May 1 to join us on the launch and make this a grand success. So on that note, thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Perfect,
Bye.
guys. Have a great day.
Good day.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.